Hello everyone, welcome to this Ask Me Anything, Ask Us Anything actually. My name's Alex.
And I'm Sayli. I'm one of the expert IELTS teachers here at E2 Language.
Me too.
We both are.
Hello Marina and Hamza and Durga. If you're watching on Zoom with us on E2 Language, you can type into the chat box. Turn the sound down.
Sorry.
And we can see your comments popping up. Hi, Syed and Paolo. If you're watching on YouTube, of course, use the live chat. We're going to try to get your questions from both areas as we go. So I'll just run through really quickly the plan. We will try to give some organization to this session, but feel free to ask whatever you want. Plenty of questions already coming. So we're going to start by talking about reading and listening, hopefully. So if you have a question about IELTS reading, IELTS listening, you can put it in now, then speaking, then writing, at the end, everything else that we can deal with. So please feel free to jump in whenever you like. And I'll have a look on Zoom here. Sayli's going to have a look on YouTube and we'll just go back and forth.
Yeah.
All right, let's go full screen. Okay. So I'll take this first question from Hamza, who says, I have 3 questions. Let's take the first one. Is 3 months enough to significantly improve? And Hamza has given the example, writing 6 to 7.5. So Hamza, 3 months, I think it would be, honestly, it would be quite difficult to jump a band and a half in only 3 months. From 6 to 7, as a lot of you know, is a big jump. From 6.5 to 7, even that is a big jump. So it really is a matter of finding out your weaknesses and eliminating those weaknesses. So you are going to have to invest a lot of time in, yes, practicing IELTS, but also just practicing your language skills. So, you know, getting rid of those errors like article errors, verb errors, building vocabulary. 7.5, you need a big range of vocabulary, big range of grammar. Feedback, reading a lot, writing a lot, coming to live classes. Yeah, it's possible, but I would not say that it's easy in just 3 months. I would say more like 6.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It also depends on how much time you invest, right? So if you're studying for like enough number of hours, or honestly, it differs from person to person. But yeah, I agree with Alex that 3 months would be tough. Not impossible, but you'd have to commit a lot of time and effort to be able to go up by one band at least.
I just saw a question about the computer-based exam. Is it possible to come back and check the questions again? So in listening and reading?
Yeah. So I recently did take the computer-based test, and yeah, for the reading section and for the listening section, you can go back and check. The only difference is for the reading section, you can check your answers whenever you want. But for the listening section, they'll give you some time at the end of each part and also at the end of the section. And that's when you can go back and check. Honestly, you can check anytime. But obviously, when there's an audio going on, you want to answer, you want to focus on answering the questions. So I'd suggest not checking or going back and forth then, because you'll miss the questions that they're playing the audio for. So towards the end, they give you like a minute.
Yeah, 2 minutes right at the end of listening and little breaks, all the way through.
So that should be enough.
And same for reading, you can go back and forth for the whole hour.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to take a YouTube question?
Sure, I'll go for
it. Similar to Hamza, Shama is asking us, she needs to improve her reading from 5.5 to 6.5. I think we'd give the same advice. Just keep practicing. You can go to e2language.com where we have a lot of practice materials for you. So you won't have to find you won't have to find resources online. Some of which are kind of dodgy. You can't really rely on those. So we have some good quality materials also on the website that will help you prepare for the test.
And even here on YouTube, just recently we put out a video about IELTS strategy, a different kind of strategy, and a lot of people have told me that that really helped them. So if you go back a few videos, I think it was at the start of January that we put that up, called IELTS Reading Super Strategy, something like that, with me. I would recommend having a look at that, because for a lot of people, you learn one strategy in reading, and that one strategy does not work for everyone. You do need to try a couple of others. And the strategy that I have in that video, it's up for free, by the way, everyone can see it. I've had really good success with it, and a lot of students also have had success with that. So yeah, definitely would recommend that for you. All right, let's see. So I can see, Polo, your question about writing. I'm going to come to writing in a little bit. Mohammed is asking the eternal question, capital letters. Can I use capital letters or small letters in listening and reading computer-based tests? I know there is a lot of conflicting evidence, a lot of conflicting information about this. Our advice from E2 is, for the paper-based test, all capitals is okay. For the computer-based test, follow capitalization convention. So if it's somebody's name, if it's a country, a day of the week, capital letter at the start, small letters after that. Just follow that rule.
So in the reading section, I don't know if you guys know this, but you can actually copy paste answers. So if there are names of places or something like that, you can just look at the passage and they'd usually be capitalized there. The only thing you have to be careful about is if they're using it at the start of a sentence, remember to capitalize the first letter.
Mm-hmm. I'll let you go to YouTube. Sorry guys, scrolling through your questions here.
Trying to find the reading and listening question. So Priya is asking, I have problems in reading MCQ type questions. Please give me some tips.
Multiple choice, difficult to do, very difficult to produce as well. The test writers spend a lot of time agonizing over how to do a multiple choice question well. Maybe you can speak to that, Sayli. What should they look out for?
So when they're making the questions, they really focus on using plausible distractors or answer options that are incorrect, basically. So they'll use options that have been mentioned in the reading text, mentioned in the listening text. But what you should pay attention to is the meaning, right? So if you get the meaning right, then even if they use synonyms or they paraphrase something, you'll still be able to get the answer. So I know we tell you to learn new words, focus on vocab, but for MCQ questions, it's important to focus on meaning, because you will see a lot of the same words used in the other answer options, but they might not necessarily be correct. So yeah, that's something you should look out for, because they do that pretty often.
Yeah, and it's not really a matter of a trick or a hack. It does come down to understanding what you're reading, and in some cases you need to slow down, particularly multiple choice. Don't sort of rush and match. Definitely don't match. Oh, there's a word, that's the answer. Yeah. Usually there's a word, that is not the answer. Almost 100% of the time. So be conscious of that. The test writers are smarter than that. They don't make it so easy. And IELTS reading really does test your comprehension. It's not a test that you can trick. So just spend that time. If you've got a couple of weeks, months before your test, build up your vocab. We did a video on that a while ago also, how to build up your vocab, why it's important. That's another one you can find on the YouTube channel as well.
Also for listening, sometimes, they'll say something, they'll be like, oh, this was the reason why I thought of doing that initially, but then, and then they'll just, talk about something else. And that happens pretty often as well. So be careful for those sort of traps. And I think we discussed those in our live classes.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that tonight's listening class has a focus on that. Often we do, particularly listening, we spend a lot of time looking at the questions, looking at the script to uncover the distractors, how they're working. So if you're an E2 subscriber, be sure to come to the listening class. Tonight, listening class is every Friday, Melbourne time, 6 p.m. or 8 p.m., 6 p.m.
So there's one from Manpreet asking about, they're asking about list of headings. So I think you're talking about match headings. I'll let you take that one.
My favorite topic, how to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, how to do it. Great question. And that video really deals with that. But when you're doing the match heading type of question, this is an example where skimming and scanning is not going to work for you. Match the heading to the paragraph. Unfortunately, you have to read the whole paragraph. And I would do that first. I'd read paragraph A first. I wouldn't even look at the headings yet. Paragraph A and think to myself, what is that about? So if Sayli said to me, what did you just read? I could say, oh, it was about what? A couple of words. And then I look through the headings from top to bottom really slowly, thinking, yes, that was it. No, that wasn't it. Or I don't know, I have to go back. But hopefully just read it once, read the paragraph, read all the headings, choose one, maybe choose two, you can't decide. And then I would also look at the other question types. So after the headings, there might be true, false, not given. There might be multiple choice. I also would check in there, can I find anything from paragraph A to answer? That way I don't have to read the passage 3, 4, 5 times. I'm just reading it once, but I deal with all the questions at the same time. It seems like it's going to take forever, but I promise you it's actually a really efficient method. I would recommend trying it. And definitely the first few paragraphs take a bit more time because it's all fresh information, fresh passage, oh my God, you need a coffee. Fresh questions. But once you get to paragraph C, D, E, you've got all those headings in your mind, you're flying by that time. So I think headings match can easily go from your most hated question type to your most beloved question type. And I'm thrilled when I see headings match on a test. I think I got it.
And that's a great tip, like using that opportunity to answer the other questions. That'll save you a lot of time.
Okay, lots of writing questions. We'll get to that in a moment. Capital letters thing, yeah, as I said, yes, paper-based capital letters, okay. Computer-based, no, follow convention.
So we have a question from Akil, and he's asking about the changes to the listening section.
That's good. Yes, sorry, our video on that is coming next week. But yeah, there have been 3 changes. Can you remember?
Really small changes though.
Very minor, yes.
Yeah, so they've decided to call the different sections of the listening test parts. So now instead of parts, they call them sections, but everything else is exactly the same. They've just changed the word, like literally that one word.
There's no, this is paper-based, by the way. There's also no example anymore in the paper-based test, and there's also no example in the computer-based test. So if you've got these books, these Cambridge books, usually listening part 1 starts with an example and then you hear it again. So that's gone now. And the other thing, what was the other thing?
Page? It was something really small.
Page numbers. There's no more page numbers. So very, very minor changes. And this just brings the computer test and the paper test more in line with each other. All right, perhaps we'll swap to talk about speaking, IELTS speaking. Do feel free to keep putting your questions in I know we've missed a lot, but we'll try to keep scrolling up and down.
Sorry about that.
Probably one that I've seen pop up a few times is about vocabulary. Sorry, I missed your name, but somebody asked, is the academic word list vocabulary enough to score band 7? So I would say it's essential to know the academic word list, and you can find it in the vocab section of the IELTS course on e2language.com. It's 570 words. There's an academic word list. There's also one called the new academic word list, which is much longer. And you would know a lot of those words already, things like research, rely, and so on.
Analysis.
Yeah. And
sorry. Yeah, if you studied at university, none of those words are going to throw you off because honestly, you probably have already used most of those words. The reason I made that face is because I feel like academic words are important, but so are topic-specific words. So you can't completely rely on academic words because they'll ask you specific questions about, let's say, the environment or health, and you can use those words to express yourself, but not like completely. You won't be able to express yourself well with just those words. You'll need some more help, and that you'll need topic. I think Alex, yeah, that's the video that we did, right? So Alex and I have done a video about the vocab that you will need. So essentially, to sum up, you need like 3 kinds of words. One is the academic word list words. You'll need topic specific words and just common words that you use like the, is, and all of those sort of words. So be sure to check out that video. I think it's called Band-Aid Vocab.
Band 9 vocab.
Oh, sorry, Band 9 vocab.
Please. Okay. Mohammed asks, how can I go from 6.5 in speaking to Band 7? So Mohammed, the good news is it's a lot easier to go from 6.5 to 7 in speaking compared to writing. And in my experience, I used to be an IELTS examiner. I think a lot of it comes down to your confidence on test day. And where do you get that confidence? That confidence comes from practicing. So you know exactly what to expect on test day. You know everything that can happen. For example, the examiner might interrupt you while you're talking. No problem. That should not throw you off. And to score Band 7, you need 7 in the 4 criteria. So fluency, coherence, lexical resource, grammatical range and accuracy, pronunciation. Let's take fluency and coherence, for example. The difference between a 7 and a 6 there, it's about how easy it is for you to speak. So if the examiner feels like you're panicking, you're struggling, you're searching for vocab, you're repeating yourself too much, that doesn't feel like a 7. A 7 in the criteria says speaks at length without noticeable effort. So I would sort of hold on to that as your mantra as you prepare for the test. And on test day, positive attitude. You want to show the examiner, this is fun. I can talk about anything. I can talk about this all day. That's the impression you want to give to the examiner. So at 6.5, you're very, very close. You might just be missing one thing. Also, if you can get some feedback, I can see, Mohammed, you're an E2 subscriber. So in your package, you might have the mock test where you do a one-on-one speaking test, or you might have a tutorial. So use that to practice with your teacher. Your teacher can tell you where the problem is. It might be vocab, it might be fluency. So identify it and work on that.
So we have a question from Naveen Philip, and he's asking us, how can I improve my speaking and writing if I don't have, basically if I don't know what to say? I have no idea about what the topic is. Oh, that's, to be honest, they'll not ask you something very technical or something that you need to sort of have specialist knowledge about. They'll usually ask you about something more general, that most people have at least heard about. And you don't really need to have, some sort of interesting topic. So there are no points for being original or for, coming up with the best ideas. That's not what they're looking for. And I used to struggle with this as well. So I used to think that, if I come up with complex ideas, my writing will be more complex. That it doesn't work that way. Even if your idea is simple and you give reasons for it and you link the idea with the reasons using complex structures, using subordinating conjunctions and using the right language, then you'll still get a high score. So don't disregard simple ideas. So when I talk about what are the major environmental concerns at this point, right, and presently, so everybody will think about global warming, pollution, whatever comes to mind. Like, I'm sure something came to your mind, right? Just talk about that. It doesn't have to be anything special. It doesn't have to sound academic. You can make it sound academic, but you know what I mean? Like, the ideas don't have to be of a specific type or, complex. The language has to be complex. I hope that makes sense.
Too complex. But in speaking as well, I think I wouldn't panic that you're going to be asked about something you've you've never heard of or that you've got nothing to say about. You've got something to say about everything. So the topics you'll get, probably the weirdest ones are like, let's talk about hats, or let's talk about wearing jeans, or let's talk about being on time. They're very, they're questions that you can answer. Even if you say, like, let's talk about TV, what's your favorite TV show? And you say, I hate TV, I don't like, I've never seen TV in my life. The examiner is only judging your sentence. They're thinking, oh, it was a nice present perfect expression there. So you don't have to say, I love it, or I agree with it, or I'm an expert. Just it's a language test, not a personality, or not a date. Sanjay is asking about tutors on E2 language. So particularly if you're on YouTube, you may not know, on E2 language, we have, of course, the self-study course, but we also have these interactive live classes, kind of like this, but we do more work in them. They're activities and writing and reading. And we also have tutorials, one-on-one tutorials with our team of experts around the world. Sanjay is asking, how do I contact my tutor, the tutor I've selected? So everything happens through the platform on E2 language. Once if you're a gold subscriber, for example, you have 3 tutorials. So when you've done, you might do a bit of practice, submit some writing for assessment, and then you feel like, okay, I'm ready to take my tutorial. By the way, we go through all of this weekly in our new member welcomes on Monday. But literally all you do is click the tutorial button, click the day, click the time, tick the box, I want to work on writing, I want to work on speaking, click submit, and that's it. The system magically connects you with a tutor who's available at that time, and the tutor will email you, they'll check your assessment history, they'll, if you've ticked the writing button, they'll go in and check, where's your writing, let's have a look at it. If there's nothing there, they'll tell you, hey, send me an essay so that we can go through it together. So yeah, everything happens like that. It's very, very simple. And if you're having trouble, we also have student support, hello@e2language.com. It can help you anytime. Shall we go on to writing?
Yeah. We're getting quite a few writing questions.
Oh, and sorry, the question's coming up. Can I select my tutor? Your initial tutorial, usually not. You're connected with someone in that time zone. But after that, yes, you can talk with your tutor and also with student support. And they can help you to rebook with the same teacher. So all those kind of questions, please get in touch, hello@e2language.com. Jess, Vivian, Lynn, all the awesome team there can help you sort out any problem that you've got. No problem. Okay, writing, let's go. Okay, does E2 website have any template for 7 types of essays? Yes, Ashwin, we do have a structure. We essentially use the same structure for any essay. It's not really a template. It's just, what's expected in an introduction, what is expected in a body paragraph according to convention, according to everybody who writes an essay, not just IELTS. So we follow that. In our live classes, you'll see that all the time. All of our practice materials follow those same steps. That doesn't mean that you memorize, the beginning of 25 sentences. No, it's not like that. But when you're in the test, yes, you should think, okay, I've got to write the topic sentence, I've got to write the supporting sentence, the summary sentence. So yes, we do have that in the course, in the live classes, in the tutorial.
So we have a question from Aziza on YouTube. She's asking, is it even possible to get 8 in writing? What can you advise to get this high score? So I got an 8. I recently took the test, and Alex got an 8.5, yeah? So it is possible to get an 8. I'd suggest practicing, following the structure, using a variety of different grammatical structures, as well as different sorts of words. What else can they do? Also developing your ideas. Honestly, this can be like 10 different classes, right? Because each thing that you need to improve, and it also depends on what you're good at and what sort of you need help with. So if your teacher would be able to help you, pinpoint the areas that you need to work on.
Yeah, I think the difference between, so to get to band 7, it's often about the accuracy, the precision of your word choice. But to get from 7 to 8, it becomes more about, I would say, 2 things: range and also the development of your ideas. This is something that we talk about all the time in the writing class. So range of grammar, range of vocabulary is going to make a difference, 7 to 8. And then also the difference in task response, how fully developed are your ideas. So if it's something like what are the advantages, and you give a list of like, one advantage is blah, another advantage is blah, and finally this is a third advantage, that's not gonna score well. To be 8, you've got to say one advantage is this, and then tell me why that's an advantage, how that's an advantage, give me a specific example of how that's an advantage. So we talk about it like stretching or extending. Each point you make, you take it as far as you can, and we use little questions to help trigger, to help do that. But definitely get some feedback on your writing as well, either from us, from E2, or if you've got a friend who's a writing legend, get them to have a look at your work, perhaps identify any errors that you're making or anything they misunderstand. Those things will be useful.
I must say there are a lot of misconceptions about what they're expecting in the IELTS essay. So for me, I thought it had to be super academic, the way I wrote, like when I was writing papers in university and for my assignments. But honestly, it's not like that. You have to be very specific, and you're supposed to like give, especially when they're asking you for your opinion, you're supposed to say I, we, you're allowed to use first person pronouns. You have to make your opinion very clear. And you have to give specific examples. You can give examples from your personal experience. You can name companies, websites, whatever, social media sites. Something that I thought was not okay in academic writing, but in the IELTS, that's actually what they're looking for. So it's kind of different from what you have been doing at uni. So that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah, golden advice. Wazi, I think that's your name, dying for the answer. I think Sayli has sort of answered it there, but your question is, in band 7, it says clear position throughout the response, and you're asking, what about if the question doesn't ask me for my opinion? This is a really good question. So if it's an advantages or disadvantages or problem solution, we would tend to recommend, even if it doesn't ask for your opinion, there is no danger in including your opinion. You're not going to be marked down for it. So if it says what are the advantages and disadvantages, you can still put in like, what do you think? Are there more advantages or more disadvantages? The other way to look at position is that it's what you state you're going to do in the introduction. So this essay is going to talk about this, and then your essay really does talk about this, and the conclusion sums up this and this. That could be considered position as well. But my advice, and all of our teachers' advice, would be, if you're not sure, should I put my opinion or not, put it in, because it can be the difference. It can be the difference. So yes, I hope that answers your question. Thanks for being patient. I know it took a while. Mansi, yes, you do get a pen and paper in the computer-based exam, but they take the paper off you after each section. Paolo, in the writing test, it's 60 minutes altogether, and you have to divide the time yourself. So the exam, and most people recommend task 1, 20 minutes, task 2, 40 minutes.
Okay, so we have an interesting question from Ajay. He's asking, I'm going to give the computer-based IELTS. So do you have to place indentation at the start of a paragraph in writing for the computer-based test? So there's 2 ways to do it, right? But if you're doing the computer-based test, it's always better to just press enter. But you can use indentation as long as you've used indentation properly and it's obvious that that's a paragraph. You can do that, or it's safer to like leave, like press enter and then also leave indentation. That would be like perfect.
Okay.
No?
What did you do in your work? You got 8?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just to make it super clear that this is a separate paragraph.
Okay. I just left a space. That's what I would normally advise, but there you go. As long as it's
just
obvious.
being sure.
Yeah, it's always better safe than sorry.
Yeah.
With IELTS. Okay. We'll just take a couple more, I think.
So Saleh is asking, are there any dramatic changes for the IELTS in 2020? No, the only ones I am listening, right? And they're not dramatic at all.
Yeah, nothing yet. We'll see. Richa, in agree, disagree, can we give a neutral answer? Richa, I think I've seen you in some live classes, so you can probably guess my answer to this. Neutral answer. And I'm not sure, what do you mean by neutral answer? That I have no opinion? In that case, no, you can't do that. Remember, band 7, clear position throughout. So if you are, this is also, if you're not a super strong writer, if you are around 6, let's say, my advice would be take a really strong position. So I 100% agree, and this is the first reason and the second reason why. If you are a stronger writer, maybe you're 7.5 aiming for 8, you can take a nuanced, not a neutral position. And probably a good example of this would be if the question is, what did we talk about recently? All students should study art and music in school. Do you agree or disagree? So you can 100% agree, 100% disagree, or you can say, I think all students should study art and music in primary school, but in high school, I think those subjects should just be optional. They should be electives. And that's like a nuanced position. I'm not 100% yes, I'm not 100% no, but my position is absolutely clear. I haven't said I agree and I disagree, or each coin has 2 sides, or anything vague like that. No, if you are going to be in the middle, be absolutely explicit about your view on yes and your view on no. No vagueness, no overgeneralization. Take a position, a clear position throughout.
But I think that that's really hard to do, you know, especially when you have only 30 minutes and you have to think about developing all of your ideas and grammar, vocab. So Alex is right. You should probably just choose one side and make it super obvious, because if the examiner can't make out what your opinion is, what they get a 6, right?
No, 3.
Oh, yeah. So you don't want to
risk position. Yeah, I mean that's dramatic, but that's
but obviously your score will go down if the examiner feels like you haven't mentioned a consistent position throughout the essay, and that's a huge risk. That's why I agree with Alex. Don't take that risk. It's not worth it. You're not there to give your opinion. You just want to get the highest score you can. And the best way to do it is either you agree completely or you disagree, because it's really hard to give a nuanced answer, even for the best of writers in 30 minutes, I'd say.
Yeah. I guess that's a way to think about it. It's a risk. Are you prepared to take that risk on test day, that expensive risk? So be safe. Make sure the examiner knows exactly what you think. Aldian is asking, okay, in an advantage-disadvantage question, do you necessarily have to pinpoint what the benefits or drawbacks are in the introduction? Or can you give a blanket statement? Adian, you're a beautiful writer already, I can tell. Sorry, Aldian. A blanket statement like, this essay will discuss the main advantages and disadvantages. So that blanket statement, something like that, this essay will discuss the advantages and the disadvantages, full stop. I would avoid that kind of really generic statement, because it's just a nothing sentence. It doesn't give me anything about the topic. The examiner would just like brush over that. It's like nothing. So you have to get in there, even if it's something like there are many advantages to taking art and music classes in school. However, there are also some problems that can arise for children. That's a better statement. So it's related to the topic. It's more specific. So yeah, that's my answer.
So we have a question on YouTube from Aditya, and he's asking, is the conclusion part necessary in writing task 1? Academic or general?
In both cases,
yeah.
No. In academic task 1, your conclusion is the overview. So it's a different thing. It's a broad statement about overall trends, stages, or differences. It's not a conclusion. And in general, in writing task 1, it's a letter, and there's no conclusion in the letter.
It's like a sign off, but it's, yeah, you're right. It's not conclusion, but yeah.
If you want to see how it's done, tomorrow, Saturday, we have task 1 classes, so 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. Melbourne time, and the 8 p.m. class will be live on YouTube. So if you are preparing for general IELTS, join Anna, Dr. Anna. She's amazing. She'll be taking that class. Otherwise, if you're doing academic, come and register on e2language.com. And every class we go through the structure. So after 2 classes, you could probably teach the class yourself. You will know exactly how to put together a perfect academic and general task 1. Sanjay's just asking about the E2 packages. Is it better to submit feedback first before booking the one-on-one tutorial?
Definitely, yes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's really the best value of your tutorial is when you, especially if you're working on writing, put in some writing into the assessment system. Again, it's all through the platform. You click assessment, you write your whatever, your task 1, your task 2, click submit, it comes through to us, we read it, we check it, we look at your grammar, vocab, every little bit of your writing, send it back. And then with your teacher, you can go through your work. You know, the tutorial is you and the teacher, camera, microphone, share your screen, you work on your document together. So the teacher can say to you, hey, I can see that you've got a problem with the development of your paragraphs. Let's fix it up. And then that's it, 45 minutes, you'll be band-aid.
Okay, we have an interesting question from Shailesh. So he's asking, what happens if I write the essay without capitalizing anything? Don't do that.
You would be penalized in the grammar section.
And punctuation.
Yeah, so grammar that's where the punctuation is penalized. So yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
And if you're doing it on the computer also, and I know Sayli found this, you have got to edit really carefully. Yeah. And me too, when I wrote the computer-based test and went back to the start, oh my God, there were like missing letters, there were the same word twice in a row. You're definitely going to make mistakes. Every mistake is like a potential drop in your score. So save time at the end, you need minutes, wipe your mind clean, even though you don't want to go back and read it again. You have to go back and read it again with fresh eyes, find those errors. Capital letter at the start of the sentence, after the full stop, after the comma, space, 1 space. So be really careful about those little errors.
And I'd seen this question, someone, I don't know the name of that person, but somebody asked, will there be marks, like those red marks that you have in Word when you misspell something? No. So you'll have to literally go through like the whole thing, look at each and every word. And like Alex said, you'll have to be sure to avoid any typos or spelling errors. So yeah, save a lot of time at the end to do that.
Mm-hmm. And when you're preparing as well, when you're practicing, particularly for computer-based, turn off spell check and grammar check while you write. Of course, you can turn it back on to check at the end, but try to challenge yourself. There's no point if you're typing and the computer's correcting your spelling all the time. That's a bad habit that we all have. So, spend some time working in test conditions. If you come to the live classes, we use the chat box as well, and that's where I get to see, all those problems, the capitalization, the typos. So when you type and you click submit, there's no time to edit, of course, but it's really good practice to do that. Paolo, do we have a structure that would work for any topic topic in writing a letter. Yeah, we do follow the same system. Please come along, Polo, to Anna's class tomorrow night, the writing task 1 general class, 8 p.m. Melbourne time, and she'll show you the structure there, or go back to review the live classes from the platform on E2 language. I might actually share the screen while we just take our final questions. So this is what it looks like when you're logged in. I know you guys on Zoom know this well, but for example, let's talk about the academic course. Someone asked me before, where's the vocab section in the course? So click on, I'm logged in as an IELTS academic student. If you're general, it will say IELTS general. And over here in the vocab section, this is where you'll find videos and word lists, and also activities building on your academic word list knowledge. The mock test, I think it was Ashwini just asked me about that. The mock test is here included in some of the packages. This is a full computer-based IELTS test, reading, writing, listening, and a one-on-one speaking through Zoom with your teacher. So Ashwini said, should I take it when I'm done with preparation so I know where I stand? Yeah, there's a few different places you can do it. That's definitely one option. Some people like to take it right at the start to see, you know, where they need to go from here, because you get really good feedback, particularly about your writing and your speaking. It's up to you whenever you want to take it. Keep in mind there are also the feedback section here if you want to do more speaking and more writing. So as a gold subscriber, you get to submit 6 task 1s and 6 task 2s through the platform here. This is where you book your tutorials. I'm not sure if that pop-up is showing up. And I was just talking about recorded classes. So if you miss the live class, and we know the time's not suitable for everyone, but you can come back for paid subscribers. We keep all of the last 2 weeks in this library here. So you can, what was the class I mentioned before? Task reading, was it? Task, I don't know, anyway. If you wanted to go back and look at, let's say, IELTS writing task 1 from earlier this week, you just go here, click on that, the video pops up. You can watch the whole class, you can fast forward to get the full sample at the end. So this is a really handy thing if the time zone doesn't suit you. Okay, let's take a couple more questions and then thanks, Paolo. Go to bed, 3 a.m.
Oh my God.
Thanks for coming. That's great. Okay, do you want to find
yeah.
so 2 more?
We have a question from MS. I think those are your initials. In writing task 2, agree, disagree question. If we agree or disagree, then both body paragraphs have to discuss the same view.
Well, did you get that?
Yeah.
Agree or disagree?
Then both body paragraphs have to discuss same view. Yes. Same idea. No. Right?
Yeah, I think if you're saying, let's say 100% agree with something, then yeah, your body can be, this is the first reason, body 1, and this is the second reason, body 2. Yeah, that's fine.
But you need different paragraphs for different ideas. So don't extend your idea in the second paragraph. You know, you need like separate ideas for 2 different paragraphs.
And sorry, Pooja, I see you in the chat box. I missed your question. Have another go now. I've got a sad face. I don't like to see that. I'm scrolling back. All right. While I'm just waiting for that question, I'll just let you know. I'll put this on the screen. So this is tomorrow, live on YouTube. And as always, all these classes are on E2 language. But if you're not a member yet and you want to see what happens in a live class, then come along 8 p.m. Melbourne time. So make sure you check that in your own local time. Dr. Anna is one of our amazing teachers. Dr. Anna can change your life. In the tutorial, she's helped people go from band 6 to band 7.5, from band 6.5 to band 8. She really knows her stuff. So come along to that on YouTube. If you're an E2 subscriber, even a free subscriber, you can join the class in the normal way by registering on the platform. Okay, Pooja, how do I get ideas? Good question. I'm not able to get relevant ideas while writing, and the time for planning runs out fast. I run out of time. Okay, so Pooja, I know that you come along to the live classes, so I'm hoping that in that way, you know, every week we have, let's say, 6 writing classes. So that's one thing. You have a lot more ideas than you probably realize. The IELTS questions are recycled quite a lot. So, you know, it's very likely when you've done a lot of preparation as you have, that on test day, you'll get something that you're fairly familiar with. And the other thing, as Sayli mentioned, you don't need heaps of ideas, and you don't need some expert insight. You really just need 2 ideas per essay. And then the rest of the essay, the real meat of the essay is how you develop those ideas, how you support your view or whatever the point is with reasons, with examples, with stuff that you've experienced in your life. And as you would know, that's what we do in the live classes a lot. We work on, you know, what's my view on this? And then why do I think that? How does this happen? What's the impact of this? What's a specific example to support this view? So I think, Pooja, you might be suffering from just lack of confidence. I think you would probably be surprised how much you know when it comes to the real test day.
Another way, I feel like Alex and I have discussed this quite often because we get this question from students quite a bit. Another way to do it is to think about, so obviously Alex's way is really a really good way to, as a starting point, if you think of a personal example, you can also use that when you're explaining your point, right? So maybe you sort of build up from your personal experience to more general ideas to build your paragraph. The other way is you can think about how this affects work, your personal work experiences, or you know how it affects the global economy. So if you think in that aspect, you can think about relationships with people, families. You can think about a few different things like that, and we'll probably do a video about that soon.
Yeah.
So thanks for that question, Pooja.
Pooja, you're a content writer. Okay, we definitely relate. Sometimes you do just run out of ideas. Syed, I'll just answer your question really quickly because your test is tomorrow. I think your question just relates to the rules of articles. You were asking why is there a before a manufacturing technique. That's just because technique is a singular countable noun. It needs an article before it. It's too late for you, I know, but next week in our Writing Task 2 class on Tuesday, we're going to be working on articles in particular. So maybe come along anyway, even though your test is tomorrow. But the art is there because like art pen or art woman, before a singular noun, you need an article or you need something like my, this, that. That's the quick answer to that.
Okay, one last question.
All right, lucky last.
So this is, I'm assuming this is for the paper-based test. So while is asking in the writing section, in case I forget a word in the middle of a sentence, can I put an arrow and write the word above the sentence?
Yep. Yes.
Is that okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Fine. Very common. You wouldn't believe the mess that some people produce. That's fine. Yeah, I mean, try to keep it as neat as you can, but feel free.
If that happens often, though, you might want to consider doing the computer-based test because there you can actually edit it. So, yeah, if your typing speed's good, you might be better off doing the computer-based test.
Sonia, for the answer to your question, I'll come along to Sunday's class or review the class from Thursday and Tuesday, Writing Task 2, about double idea paragraphs. Your question was kind of about going over the word limit. Going over 300 words, it doesn't matter, it's totally fine. And short answer is yes, double idea paragraphs are okay. All right, we're going to wrap it up, but I'll put on the screen here. If we've missed your question, and I know that we have for a lot of you, but you can get in touch with us through hello@e2language.com. A lot of the stuff I've mentioned is on our website, e2language.com. You can sign up there for free. When you join for free, you have access to quite a lot of stuff. You have access to some of our writing classes, which are one of the best things that we can help you with on E2. If you're a paid member, then you get access to everything, all the live classes, all the recordings, plus often feedback. You can book tutorials. So yeah, come and have a look around, see if you like it, join the classes, and be sure to tune in tomorrow with Dr. Anna for General Task 1. If you're doing Academic Task 1, we also have a free class, but you've just got to jump onto e2language.com to sign up. Yeah, send us an email with your question if we've missed it. Otherwise, we will see you soon.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks for coming along, you guys, especially at odd hours.
3 in the morning.
I know.
Thank you, everyone, and good luck with your study. Keep working hard. Think positive, and good luck to those who have their test this weekend. Please come back and let us know how you go.
All the best. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.